is my privilege to be here, and I got to thinking, really that I was, where I live in Wise right now, I was born within about 30 feet in a partial log cabin and extended. No water, had the outhouse, tough in the wintertime. So I remember when I was in first grade, they completed adding on to the log cabin and, built kitchen and whatever. And got an indoor bathroom. And back then, teachers would come and evaluate your house. And my first grade teacher came, and so I'm a little 6-year-old kid, and I'm grabbing her by the arm, and so I had to show her my bathroom. So I was happy. But it's tough when you have to boil water or heat water and take your Saturday bath in the wash tub. And so some of y'all been there and done that. Didn't have a car till I was in 10th grade. Lived 1.5 miles from Wise. And I had a great mother. My dad was a coal miner and loaded coal by hand with shovels. And that was before they had the mining machines and so forth. And so my mom, 1.5 miles to the church in Wise. And I don't know how many times we walked, but she took me and we walked, and sometimes my uncle attended, so we got to ride in the back of his pickup, and that was a treat. And so great. And so, but anyway, she was a shining Christian example. And so at the age of 13, birthday in April, so sometime in June or so, I accepted Christ as my Savior, and started on a road that, as a fellow said one time, said, if the devil couldn't get you, he wouldn't be after you. So he's still after us. So anyway, so my what I faced a little bit at that time was in the church, there was some concern that, or discussion I should say, whether or not you could be a Christian and play football. A rough sport, people trying to hurt each other and blah, blah, blah. We had a guy that was ahead of me about 5 or 6 years that was outstanding baseball pitcher, and it was okay to play baseball, but football might be a little bit of a question. So I settled that question. I thought I wasn't trying to hurt anybody, that I just loved to play the game. And my desire was created in about the 6th, 7th grade. I watched the guys come out of the old gym that's still there in Wise, and they'd walk, and they had to walk all the way to the fairgrounds, which is the vocational school now. And I saw those guys walking, and you couldn't play till you got in 8th grade. And so I waited for that day. And so I think I was offensive tackle on the JV team when I was first started. But anyway, another decision I had to make is, lo and behold, I had opportunity after I graduated to attend college. And I thought, well, I thought about all these guys from all these cities and how good they were and so forth. And so I just made up my mind I'd go and do the best. So the signing date was December the 7th, and we had a basketball game the night before on December the 6th there in Wise, and after the game there was 4 coaches, coach from Kentucky, Tennessee, Clemson, and Georgia Tech. And I went out to dinner with them. I had to make a decision. There's a national signing date. So I signed with Tennessee, and that was before you still could make a decision out of the Southern Conference as long as you didn't go to the Southeastern Conference. So I visited Tech, and so as a youngster and thinking about trying to live a Christian life, I visited Tennessee and visited Tech. Tech only had about 5,000 students at that time. And Tennessee, the big city, country boy, I thought, well, I'd have a better chance of living a Christian life in Blacksburg because I could walk to church and so forth and so on. And so I made the decision to go to Tech. And then at the end of the other thing that happened that was kind of odd was that Coach Mosley, who was the coach, didn't believe in playing freshmen. But when I arrived there in summer school, which I went ahead and went to summer school up there, tried to take math and English and get that out of the way since I was going to enroll in engineering, which I later changed curriculums, changed majors. And so anyway, as we approached the fall and the summer, and one senior had to pass 1 hour in summer school, and he flunked. He flunked that one course, so there's one end that's ineligible. And in preseason, another senior breaks an ankle, and so there's 2 gone, and so Tech wasn't that deep, so they had to bring me up from the freshman squad, and I was playing behind this one receiver, and we opened up the season, and first game he sprains an ankle. So here I'm starting as a freshman in Tulane, and the thing about when I was playing in college, it had that rule that if you left the game during a quarter, you couldn't re-enter. So you had to play offense, defense, special teams. You had to play everything. So in Tulane, Sugar Bowl Stadium, I believe I lost about 11 or 12 pounds. So you can imagine. So, but anyway, and then as the college career went on, and at the end, I had to make another decision as far as what was right and wrong. And that was, I got a little information that some pro teams were interested and they might have a chance to play, and there's something in the Bible about, keeping the Sabbath holy. Yeah. And so I had to decide whether or not I could work on Sunday. And I thought about, I had a chance to go to Canada and play Canadian football, and they played on Saturday. And so I debated this, and I thought, well, and I didn't think, I decided that I might have, if I made it in the NFL, then I might have a better chance might have a good chance of witnessing to young people and influencing them. And so maybe it wasn't just working. I considered it playing. And so you rationalized. Anyway, I made the decision that it was okay. I could be a Christian and play on Sunday. Amen. So Then the other lucky thing that happened, I was with the Rams for 5 years and 5 losing seasons. You know, I played with some guys, Elroy Hirsch, and I didn't play with them. Elroy Hirsch was a general manager, Bob Waterfield was a head coach, and Tom Fears was a receiver coach, and these guys had won the NFL championship in 1951, I think, and so, in my rookie year, by the way, was 1960. And so, and so, in L.A., I had, I mentioned Tom Fears, and I mentioned Zeke Brakowski was the quarterback. And both of them got a year or so ahead, and they went to Green Bay. And then I'm working the off season. We didn't hardly make as much money as they make these days. So I had to work in the off season, pay the bills, and I was in Galax selling sporting goods, and for a company out of Bristol, and Roanoke paper, someday in April. My picture's in there, and I've been traded to Green Bay. And so, naturally, I was doing cartwheels and real thrilled about that because the Packers had won in 61, 62, and come in second or something. So they were competitive. And so to have that happen and have those guys go in front of me, I'm sure had an influence on Coach Lombardi. And Coach Lombardi, in one of the early meetings, he was telling me something and watching film, and I tried to explain to him what I was thinking. That didn't go over. I learned real quickly that the only answer that Coach Lombardi wanted was, "Yes, sir." That's all you could say. There was no explanation. And so I learned that the hard way, and being embarrassed in the crowd of the whole team, and so didn't try to explain that. So anyway, the Lord has really blessed me, as far as those lucky breaks and how they turned out and so forth and so on, and to go on and to win. When I got to Green Bay, it was before the Super Bowl in 1965. We won the NFL championship. And then the next 2 years, we won Super Bowl I, Super Bowl II, and being able to contribute I had a one pull muscle my first year there in Green Bay in the top of my leg, and so it finally healed, and I was able to play and opportunity to contribute to a great group of guys and a great coach, and the main thing that during all these years in college, we had Bible studies, try to, our spiritual lives are a lot like the athletic life. You need to practice and do things to strengthen us, and that is read our Bibles and pray and attend church, and so that we can put on the whole armor of God and be able to survive, because I'm telling you, it's just our how we answer our wives that put up with us for mine in particular over 60 years, and how we, other people, that we need to try to work hard. And as a neighbor I had years ago, and he said, I mentioned earlier, said, if the devil couldn't get you, why, he wouldn't be after you. So It's just common sense. So anyway, so the rest of the time, I didn't want to do that and give you guys a chance to ask questions and answers. And it's a great crowd, and you guys are mature. Most of you are 20 years older, 20 years or older. So, but 85 and still kicking, not bad. I had all that good luck. Then the last 2 years is a whole different story. I had my doctor friend, Dr. Diamata, about 2 years ago. He was doing a colonoscopy, and he said, "You've got a hernia. You need to get that fixed." And but it wasn't hurting. So September 2022, I wake up during the night and I'm sick, throwing up 3 times. And I called him, and lo and behold, my intestine is locked up, and he had to do emergency surgery. Long story short, take out 4 or 5 inches of small intestines. And so I recovered of that and got back on the golf course in April 23, and I go till August 22nd last year. And finished the 7th hole up here at Lonesome Pine, and I'm getting on the cart, and I'm about 40% on. And my driver takes off. It spins me around, and I hit my leg right there on the asphalt. And so I get up and get on the cart and take me to the clubhouse, and we're going up by the driving range, and somehow he goes off in the ditch. And 250 pounds comes on top of me. I mean, it wasn't fast, it was slow, you know. And so I wasn't sure whether it broke a rib or collarbone or what. And so I was concerned about the rib deal, and so I had finally, after we finally got to the clubhouse, I had one of the guys drop me off in Norton at the emergency room, and called my wife, and of course she came in, but anyway, I was bruised. I didn't have any broken bones up here, but my ankle ended up going to Johnson City and having surgery, and 9 screws in a plate, and so I got released 23rd of January, and I threw the cane away, so I'm making progress, and I haven't fallen yet, but I think once, but so anyway, those have been, I thought, well, maybe the good Lord's trying to get my attention. So it's been plenty of challenge to, not to feel sorry for yourself. You keep moving. All of our training, that we've had in Lombardy, he had sayings everywhere on that. Like give it all you have. And he preached that over and over, that whatever you're doing, you left it on the field. You didn't save anything for next week or that night or whatever. You gave it all. And so, but anyway, I've been blessed and athletically and otherwise too. And so I'm one of those guys, I think many times that if I hadn't gotten saved and became a Christian, I'm probably one of these guys that have been self-inflicted and been dead a long time ago from whatever I was doing, because of whatever I do it with everything I have, and a lot of us have that attitude. Going to do it right, so, but I had some mornings that, people, alcoholism, whatever in the family, and so I had some good motivation, and so by the power of the Holy Spirit, I was able to survive to this point. So, but anyway, we got 5 minutes. I keep. So, anyway, questions? Yes.
What was your most memorable Super Bowl catch?
Well, I caught the first touchdown in Super Bowl history.
Yes, sir. Chiefs.
But it was called back. But it's about the first series, yeah. In fact, on the Super Bowl film, it shows the catch. And we looked at film, and we didn't see anybody move. They called motion on the Packers, and we didn't see any movement. So we figured it was so early in the game that the officials, his first Super Bowl, as referees, just trying to keep the game close. Didn't want to get out of hand. And so I don't know, but that'd be an answer to that. I didn't. I always thought they double covered me, and the XN had great success in both Super Bowls. Yes.
Do you watch today's game?
I do. I do if they're close.
Yeah.
I don't like.
Get frustrated watching what's called for pass interference.
Call what?
When what they call.
Oh! When they don't call it and do call it, yeah, they miss some. they miss some, but sometimes they call too closely. So, yeah, I agree. Yes.
I read somewhere that in your first contract, I think it was with Green Bay, you had them put in the contract that a tithe would be sent to your local church. Is that correct?
Coach Lombardi would try to give you extra bonuses in there that didn't come out in your main contract. So if he's talking to another receiver, well, he could say Dale was making this much, not counting all these bonuses, if you win 10 games, 12 games, and whatever. And so I mentioned to him, because he went to Mass every day, and some of the guys said he needed to go every day. So I figured try to get a raise out of him. I'd try to go that direction, and he did. So 10% of my contract was added on. And so I can't remember. I had bonuses for winning 10 games, 12 games, that kind of thing. And so, but yes. And Bud Grant, when he picked me up and looked at my contract, and he said, "What's all this?" Especially the church he's. Yeah, forget that. We'll just add that into your contract, and I'm not going to mess around with sending a check to a church. But anyway, yeah, my check. I was living in Bristol at the time, and my church got for 4 or 5 years got a did. I'd forgotten about that.
Wow.
Anybody else? Yes.
About 20 years ago, I was teaching at Powell Valley Middle School, and you came down and spoke to boys. And I want you to know you made their day. You took your Super Bowl ring and you let each boy put that Super Bowl ring on.
Yeah.
I just want to thank you for that.
Well, I appreciate it. Bringing them, carrying them around and whatever. I haven't. My fingers have grown some, swollen, I guess. So I can't wear them, and so I don't be carrying them in my pocket. And if I had them out here, you guys have them all over the. Even though you're good church people, no. No, I really.
Besides the Christian walk issue in Knoxville, what did you think about their program back then?
Who's that?
Tennessee.
Do what?
When you went to Tennessee to visit,
Oh.
they have. What did you think about their program besides the walk part?
Oh well, back when I was talking about growing up, why of course it didn't have anything like that's before TV or one before TV, but before we ever got close to one at home. I'd listen to I could get to Knoxville Station, and then that 1951 Tennessee team that won national championship, and I thought they were, I didn't think they were human, so I really was very flattered to have a chance to go to Tennessee.
I'm just curious about that.
Just the crowd in the city and whatever.
Okay.
And they were kind of like, when somebody tells a high school kid that we're going to make you an All-American and blah, 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 that's landed on a little bit thick, And I could dream, but there's a lot of room between here and there. And
You've done a pretty good job. You've done a well job.
man, thank you.
Yes, sir.
What high school game do you remember most?
One of these Stone Gap ate us up.
You know I couldn't remember that score.
I don't know what was the score. I don't either.
I don't either.
Well,
I didn't remember.
I thought it might be 0-0, but
I didn't even remember who won. To be honest.
well, all I know is that we looked at the program, and the heaviest guy y'all had was about 150 pounds. And so we got down, we ran into a buzzsaw. So, somebody, the score?
I got a comment. I was talking to you earlier about the old East Stone Gap teams and the old back in them days. He said the team on the roster, one guy was 150 pounds, was the biggest one. He didn't know that was the water boy.
Yeah, that was the day that before we played. I think we got out of class, and I had about an hour of time so I grabbed a shotgun, went out in the woods and squirrel hunted. Of course I wasn't walking, but I was just sitting. But it's the idea, of not respecting your opponent, and it gets you. And it happens at every level. You still see it happen today. When you're playing somebody that you're supposed to beat, and it ends up, you get upset. And that's where Coach Lombardi, if you're playing somebody that hadn't won a game, he'd go nuts. And he'd start on Monday. Chewing everybody out, making sure you didn't get overconfident, and it's kind of the same way in the spiritual life. If you've ever been going along, you think, well, I got my temper under control. About the time you think something like that, the devil puts it through there. Why you end up losing it, so to speak, somewhere, and making a comment or reacting in a non-Christian way. And so respect your opponent. It's a good habit to carry with you. And don't think you have arrived. And even golf's that way. Play 17 holes, and man, it's the best day you've had, and then whoops, double bogey, triple bogey. you know, and I've had it happen, and that's very true.
Carroll, tell them how you almost lost one of your rings.
Almost what?
Lost one of your rings.
Almost.
Lost one of your
Oh,
rings.
I didn't tell that to everybody. It's playing in a golf tournament, and you know, where they have you're playing with a foursome, and we go places, and I don't remember where it was, North Carolina, I think. And I used to carry one of my rings, and I'd mark a ball with it, you know, and everybody'd putt. And so, anyway, this particular day, I made a pretty good putt. We were all excited and everything and get back. And so I'm getting ready to get in the car after we go to the clubhouse, and they do all the ceremony and all that. And next thing I said, where's my ring? Gee, I said, I believe I left it on the green. So I go grab a cart, and it was like hole number 15 or something. So I go out and I run to the green, and sure enough, it's laying there. And there's a foursome coming. They're getting ready to tee off on this hole back, and so I found it. So that's the reason I thought you can't trust me with them, so I leave them home. Yes.
As a NFL player and Christian, what was your biggest challenge being a Christian in that atmosphere?
Very quickly, the toughest time I had trying to live a Christian life was high school. The people making fun of me. College, they respected me. I go to college, and I go and start in the summer school, and I get up there that day, and they introduced me some other players, and they're playing softball in Roanoke, so we go. And so what happens? They bring out the beer. First day there, and I have to, I don't have to. I mean, I didn't have any trouble saying no, that I didn't drink, but they respected that. And it's been the same way in pro football. The guys, you know, they had respect for you. And we had, in the pro football, I went, been playing at a certain time, and Zeke Rakowski was Catholic, and Bart, and so I'd go with the quarterbacks, and we'd go to Mass. And then finally we started having Vespers, having our own church, have speakers come in, or somebody on the team would speak. And so that was the other thing that was tough because of the timing and getting ready, that attending church services was very difficult. But the guys all, no pressure. They might ask you why you didn't drink or why you didn't do this and why, but once you told them, they respected that. So anyway, guys, I'm about over. I mean, I got all morning, but whatever you. Anybody else have a question?
Well, what's like playing at Lambeau in that weather when you got to see them?
Oh, the ice bowl.
Ice bowl.
Yeah, I had. I still today, my two big toes, because I wore my shoes. I wore them fit like a glove. I wear 11 and a half shoe, and I wore 9 and a half football shoe. And so as soon as that game was over, and I wore 3/4 inch cleats, which are illegal now. Half inch is all you wear. And but I wore them the entire game because he had, Coach Lombardi had the heating coils under the field. And but my toes turned black. It looked like I'd hit both of them, big toes, with a hammer. And even today, the fungus where the damage was, so I got a reminder. It was souvenir. But anyway, it was tough. But it was much better playing than being in the stands, because my father-in-law and my wife's uncle came up, and they made it the first half, and then they went to the parking lot. And they had the stadium bags, which are like sleeping bags. You sit down in and zip them up. My wife had one of those, and then somebody had an extra coat that loaned her, and so she made it through without getting frostbite or bitten or anything. But minus 14 and about a minus 50 chill factor. So it was tough. I'd rather play in better weather.
Did you wear gloves back? I mean, were the receiving gloves back then?
Coach Lombardi wouldn't let us wear them. Dave Robinson tells a story about how he tried to wear those brown work gloves, the cloth gloves, because he thought Coach Lombardi couldn't tell the difference in the color. See, he's a black guy, but he caught him. But that's one of Dave's jokes. But anyway.
Who is somebody really interesting that you played with?
I guess when you deal with all kinds of characters on the football team, but Bart and was a gentleman that he was very competitive, and but yet he was a guy that was a fine Christian example. And in fact, he helped work a boys' club up in Wisconsin, Rawhide. And I don't know how many millions of dollars he raised for them. But just signing stuff, he asked people to send a donation for Rawhide if they had a request, for autographs or whatever. And so he spent a lot of time in the off season, and after he retired. Believe it or not, I still get a few fan letters, 2 or 3 a week. And with the internet and everything, they go back and look and study, kids studying. Even 13-year-old girls, have even gotten letters from those. And I got a letter at home. The guys write it so the name looks like, just lines up and down, and I've seen him before. So there's a lot of people in the business of selling autographs, and I've seen them on eBay personalized, but whatever. And so, but yeah, and then the bad guys, the loud guys, you always have those, but the main thing was that Coach Lombardi was able to get everybody to realize that they had to do their job and let him worry about the other people. Do your job, and everybody work together. So, anybody else?
When you retired, did you hold the most yards per catch record at that time?
Yeah, at Green Bay I do. I still have it. 19.72. Now they throw so many passes, nobody will ever break that, see. You guys got 11, you got 11 catches in this game, and even if you got 200 yards, that's getting close on 11 catches. But but it'd be great to play now because they throw that ball, and for a wide receiver. But winning as a team is really what it's all about, but it upsets me to see receivers that they're not getting the ball and they're jumping around, whining, crying, but some Coach Lombardi would never put a bonus in there for a number of catches or anything like that, because that stuff goes on without any extra motivation. And imagine giving a running back or for yards that they run, or a receiver for the number of catches bonuses. That makes you a very selfish individual, and human nature's got enough of that, spread around anyway. So, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure, and God bless you, and maybe we'll see you on the course somewhere.